Baalbek, if there was one example, one ancient site on Earth that is evidence of a lost, ancient, advanced civilization, and by advanced, I'm not talking about space lasers here. I'm talking about more sophisticated than what we were taught in school for the known capabilities.
Imagine trying to lift a stone block heavier than 10 blue whales stacked on top of each other. Then imagine placing it with surgical precision more than 20 feet in the air thousands of years ago without modern machines.
Baalbek has the largest stones that were ever quarried in human history, the largest stones that were lifted, stacked, and transported in human history. They were perfectly lined up, and they're absolutely massive.
At Baalbek, Lebanon, colossal stones remain, baffling experts because even the most powerful cranes today struggle with such weight. What if these giant blocks weren't carved or lifted by the Romans, the civilization famous for engineering marvels? The silence of history and the sheer scale of these megaliths suggest a mystery buried deeper than we ever imagined. The unbelievable megaliths. Baalbek stands as one of the most astonishing architectural marvels on Earth, not because of its ornate design, but because of the sheer size of its stones. Imagine blocks weighing nearly 1,500 tons. That's heavier than 10 blue whales stacked on top of each other, moved and positioned with near-perfect precision more than 20 feet above ground. These massive stones, especially the famous trilithon, stretch over 60 feet in length and tower nearly 14 feet high. Their size challenges everything modern engineering can do. Even the strongest cranes today barely manage to lift a fraction of their weight. The trilithon is only part of the mystery. Around half a mile from the temple, an ancient quarry holds even larger stones, some unfinished. These abandoned monoliths include the Stone of the Pregnant Woman at nearly 1,000 tons and others exceeding 1,200 and even 1,500 tons. It's as if the ancients planned for something far grander, massive projects that remain only half realized. The unfinished stones hint at a building ambition unlike any other site in the ancient world. What makes Baalbek's megaliths even more baffling is their placement. These are not just stacked on the ground, but held 23 feet in the air, fitted together so tightly there is no gap big enough to hold a speck of dust. Such surgical precision is incredible, especially since this was done thousands of years before the invention of cranes, pulleys, or any heavy machinery we take for granted today. The craftsmanship alone suggests highly specialized knowledge. Yet who possessed this knowledge remains a question. The common comparison to modern engineering puts this site in perspective. The largest stone moved by machines today weighs about 340 tons, less than a quarter of Baalbek's biggest blocks. NASA's Vehicle Assembly Building Crane, one of the strongest cranes in the world, cannot lift a single Baalbek block. The contrast between modern limitations and Baalbek's achievements defies logic, making it a puzzle that has stumped archaeologists, engineers, and historians alike for decades. The scale of construction pushes beyond practicality, raising questions about purpose. Why would ancient builders choose to manipulate stones that heavy and difficult to move when smaller blocks could have built equally stable structures? The sheer effort estimated for moving these giants, requiring tens of thousands of workers, suggests a motivation beyond utility. It speaks to something symbolic or spiritual, a statement meant to awe and inspire through raw power and mystery. Yet, despite its massive dimensions and engineering complexity, Baalbek's stones hold secrets that go beyond size. They defy the standard methods of ancient construction, calling into question what we think is possible in pre-modern history. Excavations reveal not just monumental stones, but layers of human presence stretching back thousands of years, promising answers buried beneath centuries of earth and stone. Transitioning from the stones themselves, the silence they evoke in historical records is just as striking as the stone's monumental presence. Missing records and silent Romans. One of the most perplexing aspects of Baalbek is the complete absence of Roman records detailing the construction of these gigantic stones. The Romans, famous for meticulously documenting their engineering feats, from aqueducts to the Colosseum, left no mention of Baalbek's massive trilithon or the colossal blocks that form its platform. This silence has baffled scholars because the Romans loved to glorify their architectural achievements, yet here they remained silent. Baalbek, known to the Romans as Heliopolis, was an important religious and imperial site, yet there is no written account revealing how or when these colossal stones were moved and placed. Even measurements that would reflect Roman systems, such as the Roman foot, are notably absent from the stonework's dimensions. This suggests the foundation might predate Roman involvement altogether, posing the question, were these stones already in place when the Romans arrived? The idea that Romans built on top of an existing monumental foundation finds support in historical patterns, where conquering civilizations often repurposed earlier constructions seen as sacred or strategically valuable. It's as if the Romans discovered a skyscraper already standing, but no one bothered to record who originally built the foundation or how it came to be. This historical gap challenges our understanding of the Romans as the sole architects of the complex. Further fueling the mystery is Baalbek's location, more than 2,000 miles from Rome's capital, yet featuring some of ancient history's most daring engineering. Why would the Romans invest so much effort and resources here without leaving a trace of the methods or manpower involved? The silence magnifies the size of the stones themselves, transforming them from mere construction blocks into cryptic monuments of a forgotten past. Historians and archaeologists have tried piecing together clues from other Roman structures, but Baalbek simply doesn't fit the mold. The largest known stones used in typical Roman construction elsewhere weigh only a fraction of those at Baalbek. Even Roman cranes and pulley systems, as advanced as they were, would have struggled with stones over 1,000 tons. This disparity raises suspicions that the Romans inherited something extraordinary rather than created it from scratch. Some scholars have proposed that the Romans were opportunistic, building their temples atop an already ancient and sophisticated base built by a prior civilization. Others suggest that political or cultural reasons may have led the Romans to downplay the origins of Baalbek's massive stones, possibly to emphasize their own later achievements instead. Regardless, the absence of documentation leaves the past shrouded in mystery. Moving from silence to substance, we uncover archaeological findings that stretch Baalbek's origins back thousands of years. Ancient occupations and archaeological finds. Archaeological excavations at Baalbek reveal a continuous human presence dating back at least 11,000 years, long before the rise of the Roman Empire. Pottery fragments with cuneiform writing found on site suggest the settlement was active during the Persian period, between the 6th and 4th centuries before the Common Era, adding complexity to the site's history. This continuous occupation speaks to Baalbek's enduring cultural and spiritual significance over millennia. The earliest layer unearthed points to the Neolithic period around 9,000 years before the present, indicating that Baalbek's location was a vital community long before any monumental stone construction. This challenges the notion that the site's importance began only with classical civilizations. Instead, it frames Baalbek as a sacred place where multiple cultures gathered, lived, and built upon the legacy of their predecessors. Discoveries also include architectural fragments and construction techniques remarkably similar to those found in Jerusalem, particularly Herodian stone masonry. The foundation supporting Baalbek's massive columns shares patterns of alternating headers and stretchers, drafted margins, and stone heights nearly identical to those at Herod's constructions. These parallels suggest a cultural or engineering exchange across the ancient Near East. The site's name itself, possibly derived from Baal-Neb, Lord of the Source, connects to a natural spring nearby and hints at religious importance extending back to the Phoenician period. Phoenicians made Baalbek a pilgrimage destination, worshiping gods like Baal, the sky deity, whose name likely influenced the cities. Beneath Roman structures, traces of these earlier temples remain, revealing layers of sacred architecture built over thousands of years. This ancient foundation reframes the monumental stones, not as Roman feats alone, but potentially as relics of a far older civilization, possibly Phoenician or earlier, capable of incredible engineering. It also aligns with the silence in Roman records, suggesting the stones were already legendary when the Romans arrived. These layers of history give Baalbek the character of a living palimpsest. Despite these findings, the question remains: how did prehistoric or early historic peoples manage such massive constructions with the technology then available? The scale of the stones and their precise placement far exceed what experiments suggest is possible with basic tools and manpower. So, the archaeological record, while rich, raises as many questions as it answers. Intriguingly, the abandoned quarries nearby hold those unfinished giants, inviting speculation about why construction halted and whether lost knowledge prevented completion. Between the ancient human occupation and the sheer size of the megaliths lies a story of ambition, mystery, and skills we have yet to fully decode. Beneath the shadows of ancient civilizations, modern science struggles to match the ancient builders' astounding achievement. Engineering trials and modern challenges. The sheer scale of the stones at Baalbek is a monumental engineering challenge even by today's standards. Modern machines struggle to lift weights nearing a few hundred tons, while the largest Baalbek stones tip the scales at 1,500 tons. Engineers have long attempted to figure out how ancient builders managed to move and elevate such colossal blocks without cranes, hydraulic lifts, or powered machinery. The answer remains elusive, and each attempt only deepens the mystery. Experimental archaeology has tested some of the plausible methods. For instance, wooden rollers and ramps, simple tools familiar to ancient cultures, were put to the test. Yet when archaeologists tried moving replica stones uphill using wooden cylinders, the experiment quickly proved disastrous. The stones slipped uncontrollably or toppled off, revealing that basic friction reduction techniques couldn't handle such immense weights on uneven terrain. This failure suggests that straightforward solutions are unlikely to explain Baalbek's construction. More sophisticated ancient engineering options have also been scrutinized. The Romans developed cranes with complex pulley systems capable of lifting several tons, and large wooden lifting towers powered by teams of people or animals. Historical records describe machines like the Pentus Pastos with multiple pulleys and treadwheel cranes operated by synchronized labor. Despite these advances, even the strongest known Roman cranes could move stones up to 6 tons, still a fraction of Baalbek's enormous blocks. Margaret Vaness, a researcher with the German Archaeological Institute, proposed that human-driven capstans might have aided moving the stones. While theoretically plausible for medium-sized blocks, the numbers don't add up for Baalbek's giants. To move stones weighing nearly 1,000 tons, the labor force and mechanical advantage required would have been immense, far exceeding realistic historical capabilities. Estimates suggest as many as 40,000 workers would be necessary, more than the population of many ancient cities. Even these staggering numbers don't solve the problem of lifting the blocks over 20 feet high. The precise placement and near-perfect alignment demand fine control, which is hard to reconcile with crude ramps or sheer manpower pulling. Modern cranes designed for megastructures find Baalbek's stones challenging, underscoring the limitations of current technology in duplicating ancient feats. These engineering challenges push us to rethink accepted narratives about what ancient societies could accomplish. The layers of complexity also extend to quarrying techniques. Baalbek's builders smartly exploited natural fissures in the limestone layers to quarry massive blocks without fracturing them. This insight demonstrates advanced geological understanding and meticulous planning. It also hints at lost knowledge or specialized techniques that did not survive through the centuries or were never shared outside this locale. Stories born from wonder and mystery often reflect our deepest desire to explain the inexplicable, a perfect segue into the many theories and legends surrounding Baalbek's origins. Theories and local legends. The enormous stones of Baalbek have inspired a wide spectrum of theories, ranging from the conventional to the extraordinary. Some suggest lost ancient civilizations possess technologies that were erased from history. Others turn to supernatural or mythic explanations, imagining divine or otherworldly assistance. These ideas, while often speculative, reveal how deeply Baalbek challenges our understanding and sparks human imagination. Local folklore around Baalbek enriches this tapestry of mystery. One legend tells of the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, named after a tale wherein a pregnant woman convinced locals to feed her in exchange for secret knowledge about moving the stones. Other stories speak of supernatural beings or giants, the Nephilim mentioned in ancient texts, credited with carving and transporting the massive blocks. These narratives reveal how the site's imposing scale inspired generations to seek answers beyond ordinary human ability. On the fringe of these legends lies the modern ancient astronaut theory. Writers like Graham Hancock and Zecharia Sitchin popularized the idea that extraterrestrial visitors with advanced technology might have built or assisted in building Baalbek. This theory imagines tools and methods far beyond human reach at the time, harmonizing with the unexplained precision and scale. Though lacking hard evidence, these ideas appeal to the overwhelming sense of awe the site elicits. Skeptics and mainstream archaeology raise important counters. Roman engineering, though unable to fully explain Baalbek's largest stones, does offer evidence of highly skilled craftsmanship and ingenuity. Archaeological findings of chisel marks and carved blueprints etched into the temple floors highlight human involvement and planning. Experimental archaeology, despite limitations, shows moving large stones might have been extraordinarily difficult, but possible with massive organized labor. Still, no theory perfectly reconciles all facts. The size and precision reach beyond known capabilities of any ancient technology confidently documented. The silence in historical records further fuels speculation. Some argue Baalbek was a sacred site whose origins became obscured by successive civilizations, deliberately or otherwise. This cultural layering means the temple complex may be much older than the surface suggests. The ongoing mystery feeds a human fascination with lost knowledge and forgotten powers. Philosopher Daniel Dennett suggested that when faced with what seems impossible, people often default to supernatural explanations. Baalbek sits at this crossroads of fact and legend, inviting wonder but withholding definitive answers. Each theory invites us to imagine a time when humanity or something beyond it reached for the extraordinary. Whether by human hands, divine inspiration, or something unknown, Baalbek remains a monument to ambition and mystery. It compels us to question not only ancient history, but also the limits of human potential and imagination. This conversation lays the foundation for understanding the site's ongoing allure as both an archaeological treasure and an enigma. With myths intertwined deeply in its history, Baalbek beckons us to look closer at the emerging discoveries that may finally illuminate its true story. Breakthrough discoveries and final insights. Modern archaeological investigations at Baalbek have uncovered remarkable evidence that stretches the story of this site far beyond Roman times. Systematic excavations, which began in earnest after Kaiser Wilhelm II's visit in 1898, gradually revealed layers of human activity reaching back to the Neolithic period, approximately 11,000 years ago. Pottery fragments inscribed with cuneiform writing point to a settlement active during the Persian period, further emphasizing Baalbek's deep historical roots. One of the most striking discoveries came from detailed examination of the temple floors, where ancient blueprints were carved directly into the stone. These plans depict precise measurements and architectural arrangements, suggesting that the builders planned their grand constructions with meticulous care and sophisticated knowledge. Rather than being mere laborers, the ancient craftsmen appear as master planners, capable of engineering feats far more advanced than previously assumed. Further comparisons uncovered surprising architectural parallels between Baalbek and Herodian structures in Jerusalem. The foundation of Baalbek's massive columns shows the same patterns of alternating headers and stretchers, drafted margin stonework, and consistent course heights. These similarities imply either the direct involvement of Herodian builders in Baalbek or a shared construction tradition spanning the ancient Near East. Such connections broaden our understanding of cultural and technical exchanges in antiquity. A particularly compelling revelation was the discovery of the quarry site containing unfinished colossal stones. These enormous abandoned blocks confirm that Baalbek's builders were quarrying stones far larger than those already in place. The stone of the pregnant woman and the forgotten stone remain as silent witnesses, raising questions about whether Baalbek's grandest ambitions were left incomplete or lost to time. These stones illustrate the vast scale of geological and engineering efforts underpinning the site. Scientific analysis also shed light on ancient quarrying techniques. Researchers found that the builders exploited natural fissures in the rock layers to extract monoliths cleanly, reducing the risk of fractures. This method, intelligent and resourceful, appears in other Roman-era projects, suggesting continuity or adaptation of local knowledge in later construction phases. Such details challenge simplistic views about ancient technology and highlight the sophisticated skills of these early engineers. Despite advances, many questions persist. Why has the site remained a layered mystery for so long? And why did successive civilizations use the site without claiming credit for the massive foundation stones? Baalbek seems to be a palimpsest of human history, a sacred place layered with meaning, purpose, and power known to many, but built by few. Its stones whisper of unknown builders and lost expertise that may yet lie buried beneath centuries of soil and legend. Emerging evidence invites a critical rethinking of Baalbek's origins, blending archaeology, history, and engineering. It suggests a complex sequence where ancient peoples with unknown methods created the monumental core, and later civilizations, including the Romans and Persians, added layers and adaptations. The interplay of cultures, technologies, and faiths transforms Baalbek from a static ruin into a dynamic narrative of human persistence and creativity. Ultimately, Baalbek challenges us to reconsider assumptions about ancient civilizations' capabilities and records. More than just a site of massive stones, it is a testament to human ambition reaching beyond the limits of what we thought possible. As research continues, each discovery not only unravels mysteries, but also deepens the awe inspired by this incredible monument. Baalbek's colossal stones remain a fascinating blend of mystery and mastery, bridging ancient ambitions with modern curiosity. Whether built by forgotten civilizations or embellished by great empires, the site challenges everything we know about history and human capability. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Baalbek's secrets, don't forget to like and subscribe for more ancient mysteries. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.